After 80 years of dominance, the US dollar slowly but surely it's losing its value. After World War II, when the Bretton Woods system created, since that they've been doing, particularly US dollar has been like dominating the trade in every single sector. But lately, because of China, because of Russia, because of India, because of the BRICS nation, they've been losing the global dominance. After World War II, since they created the Bretton Woods system, since that the US dollar has been like dominating in every single way, but particularly because of the rise of China, we could see that US dollar is not following as it should be, and they're like losing the value. Since 1971, when President Nixon took away the gold standard, since that everyone thought like the US dollar could fall soon, but because of the petrodollar, they've gained even more influence, more and more influence. But in this decade, they are losing the value. One of the reasons is that the unlimited money printing. Since 2008, like in 2008 crisis, like they've printed trillions after trillions because of the housing bubble, and that was for short term helpful, but in long term it like created a lot of inflation. They've did it again in 2020 during the COVID. They printed around of like $5 trillion. Okay, that was helpful for that COVID crisis, but now we can see that the inflation is all over the world. It's literally like eating us. Like when you go to the supermarket, when you go to rent an apartment, you just can't rent anymore. It's extremely expensive nowadays to do anything because of the inflation, because of the money they've printed in 2008, particularly in 2020. And I think we could see another big print is coming, as a lot of like experts they are saying in 2026. I really do think it's coming. This dollar is losing its value because the more you print, the less your dollar is worth, and that's the exact formula. That's why all the empires, the Portuguese empire, the Dutch, the Brits, the Spanish, they overprinted, they over devalued the currency, and that's why their empire, for once the currency is like worthless, the empire cannot sustain. And that's the history taught us over and over again. You could look the history, like the all the five empire, their pattern, every single one is the same pattern. And I think the United States is going to be the next one, and that's what it looks likely. Because every single emperor, the kings, they always thought, oh, we could print more, we could print more, we could devalue the currency, but nobody could challenge us. And they were absolutely wrong, because there is another country, or there is another shop next to you who could be the bigger and better than you. And that's what it should be. And that's why the history taught us that the Portuguese, they printed, then the Spanish took over, then the Spanish printed a lot, they devalued the currency, then the Dutch took over, the Dutch, they did the same, then the Brits took over, and the British, they did the same, overprinting of money. And because they thought they have the magic power, they could do literally anything. And that's what the United States is doing. They could literally print over, and like United States has $38 trillion of debt. 38. That's even 128% of their GDP. And for Britain, it took like 224%, if I'm not mistaken. And United States, probably, I don't know, like few more years, and they'll definitely collapse. Like that's the signal, that's the inside information is coming. They will definitely collapse, because United States, they think that they're the special one because they have the technology, they have the everything, so it might be different that time. No, I don't think it will be different that time, because like every single emperor, like they thought like that, oh, like we are the special one, we are the special, it's not gonna be go away, it will be forever, forever. Nothing is forever. There's nothing in the world is forever. Everything will go away. There is a time, probably 80 years, 100 years, 150 years, 200 years, but after that time, it will always like fall. And that's the history always repeats, guys. History always repeats like a rhyme, like a rhyme. It always repeats, like, and history is the main thing. And last 5,000 years, gold has been the best currency overall. Like it's almost all the fiat currency, let's say like the Spanish, the Portuguese real, the Dutch, the British pound, the US dollar, almost all of them will fall away. And the gold is the one and only currency, and right now it's the Bitcoin, which is like the digital gold. Because throughout 5,000 years, gold is the one and only asset that hold the ground. Before, it used to be that whoever has the more gold, they had the more power and they could print more money. But right now, like since 1953, the central banks in all over the world, particularly like China, India, Russia, they've been like devaluing their US treasury and they're buying gold because they know what's coming. They know that, yeah, there is a one, like probably like it's not gonna happen in overnight or in next month or next year. Probably it could happen in 5 to 7 years. United States spent $8 trillion in Afghanistan and Iraq. They've spent over $8 trillion in Middle East. Imagine like how much could you do in United States for infrastructure, for tech, for anything around the world. Like they literally wasted this money and killed a lot of people, particularly millions, I would say, people in Iraq or in Afghanistan. That's because of the military industrial complex. And that's the reason, and they printed this money and they spent that money over there. Now the people, the American people, they've waken up, the European, all over the world, they've waken up. They're like, oh my god, like they're literally, the dollar is like weaponizing us, especially like if you like to, if you say something against United States, they will like put sanction, they will go and bomb your country like they did in Syria, in Libya. So that's the reason like more than like 100 countries or like 110 countries, they don't even want to use the US dollar anymore because they are fed up, they're really angry. They are like, you guys are killing people, you guys are putting sanctions, you guys are doing like bomb. That's why like Russia is angry that why you want to put Ukraine to our NATO, to our borders, the US missile system. And that's the reason, that's the arrogance is always going to die. And that's why United States is going through, which is kind of like stage 6. Probably it's gonna last from 5 to 10 years, like that's the expert they're saying. Some of them they're saying 5 to 7 years we could see hyperinflation. I'm definitely, we will see like hyper inflation in 2028 or 2029. I would say like in 2 3 years, like we're gonna see it's gonna get really bad. As Lawrence Leopard, the author of The Big Print, which I recommend everyone to study the book, it's an excellent book. 2028, 2029, people will be like, they can pay their rent, they can pay their groceries, and they will start a revolution. And I think that's what's going to happen. I really do believe that, like, because end of the day, when people are not going to pay their, groceries and everything, that's how the French Revolution started, and that's how Napoleon took the power. So it's not gonna happen overnight again. Probably it could take 5 to 7 years, as experts are saying. Could take even more, could take even less, but everyone should be prepared. Particularly US defense budget, it's around of like $1 trillion, and they are paying interest of the debt is more than the defense budget. So you could literally see that US is spending $1 trillion for over 800 bases all over the world. It takes a lot of money to run these things, and that's another reason, because they can't lose the access. They can, if they will like withdraw from some of the bases, it looks like a defeat, and no empire has ever done that. No empire ever did that. So the US has to do it, and US, they are rejecting to do that. They are rejecting to withdraw their troops from Europe, from different countries, because they don't want to see as the weakness. They don't want to see it seems like a defeat, guys. It's like, oh, you lost the battle. And that's why the United States, I think they will fight till the end. It's gonna get really worse. It's gonna get really worse. Like trust me, like that's what happened in Weimar Germany after the fall of Spanish Empire, Dutch Empire, the British Empire. I think it's gonna get really worse, and that's what is going to happen. That's what we are going to see in next upcoming years. We're gonna see like hyperinflation, as I spoke, and we're gonna see a lot of problem. Probably the best way is to put some money on gold, put some money on Bitcoin, put some money on stocks, real estates, whatever you like, whatever you believe in. Learn more about financial system and help yourself.